again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, but you can call me Grizzer. Way easy to remember, way easier to say, and this is the place where we'll get you caught up on some of the latest news, the tidbits, the headlines, the talk, whatever's going on that's tied to our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everybody who has liked our previous episodes, all of you who have subscribed to the channel. Once we get to 15,000 subscribers on YouTube, the Orange Quarter Zip will get a day off. That's how we'll celebrate. I already know what I'm wearing, so if you want to see the new fit for just one show, then let's get to 15,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed to this show already. And then those of you who get your comments down there in the viewer comment section, not only here on YouTube, but the Facebook page, TikTok, X, of course, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We try to spread out our wings so you can find us very easily. All right, now coming up on today's show, a Shedeur Sanders trade rumor breaks the internet, but it justified the reason we drafted him in the first place. Training camp dates are out. There's only one, though, that I have circled. Bleacher Report reveals its list of the biggest draft bust in the NFL, MLB, and NBA. Guess who tied for the most? And in the viewer comments, what Shedeur should never do. Oh, okay. But first things first, ring, ring. Who's calling? Holy moly. This broke the internet when local radio sports talk show host says the Browns are getting calls about Shedeur. And everybody's like, we're going to trade Shedeur. We're trading Shedeur. Oh, my goodness. It was like that scene from The Office when they had the fire drill. It's happening. It's happening. It was unreal what was going on when this was said. Well, here's what was said. Let's start here. Tony Rizzo on ESPN Cleveland. There are talks and ongoing calls about the availability of Shedeur Sanders. The Browns, for whatever reason, don't think he's the guy. That's my opinion. And I'm sure they'll say, what are you talking about? He's in a quarterback battle. Now, the important line here is after he says the Browns, for whatever reason, don't think he's the guy, that is Rizzo's opinion. That is nothing official. And there are calls coming in about Shedeur. Very important. If the calls are coming in about Shedeur, doesn't that justify us drafting him in the first place? Don't we have something that somebody else wants? Kind of justifies the reason you took him in the first place, right? Doesn't it justify getting a first-round talent in the fifth round? If everybody's calling and saying, hey, we'll take your first-round talent that you got in the fifth round. What do you want? This to me is the biggest compliment the Browns could be paid for drafting Shedeur last year. Trading 2 picks to move up in front of Philadelphia and take him. Steal him away from Baltimore. Vegas had interest. All these other teams, and now they're probably going, ugh. We probably should have taken him when we had the chance. They got that Watson thing going on over there. Can you call him and see? Would they be willing to give him up now? It is an absolute compliment and justifies drafting Shedeur in the first place. We have something everybody else wants. It's like when, okay, say you come out of the grocery store one day and you're walking up to your car to put your groceries back in your car and somebody walks up to you and be like, man, that's your car? I'll give you double what you paid for it right here on the spot. I'll give it to you right here. You want to sell your car. You're not really looking to sell your car, but somebody's coming up with, oh, no, that's cool, man. I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. You know? Or maybe you say that just to see how good a deal you could get. And I'll give you 3 times as much as you paid for it. All right. Then maybe you have to make a deal. But if we are fielding incoming calls on Shedeur Sanders, that justifies the draft pick. That justifies getting the first round talent in the 5th round, because now everybody is looking at this and going, boy, oh boy, did we screw this up. The Browns were the only ones that got it right. That's what's going on here. And so for everybody to go right to, oh, we're going to trade Shedeur. Completely wrong way to look at it. The right way to look at it is, look at that, man. Barry is on such a heater right now that he's the only one who was smart enough to trade 2 picks to move up in front of Philly and take Shedeur Sanders, because now everybody wants him. Everybody sees the value they have there. A first-round talent in the 5th round. Now everybody wants a piece. Here's the other thing that the Browns are not trading Shedeur Sanders. He's on a rookie contract. I mean, he's a high interest pick. Of course there's going to be calls about him. They probably get calls about other guys too. Rookie contract are the 2 most important words. Very, very low cap hit. So there's no point. Why would we trade away a rookie contract? This is why we want Shedeur to work out, because he is on a rookie contract. You want your franchise quarterback to be on a rookie contract, just like Drake May or Bo Nix or a lot of these other guys, Bryce Young. Like, that's how you want to start it. And then we have all of the draft picks from the Myles Garrett trade and the other moves that we made during the draft in the last couple of years that we could pour into assets to put around our franchise quarterback who's on a rookie contract. Like, that is exactly what you want. They are not trading Shedeur Sanders. There's nothing confirmed. There are no deals reported. This is the perfect compliment for the Browns. People are calling and asking, hey, we screwed up. Would you consider trading him to us now? How about that? And Andrew Berry's like, no. You had your chance. I'm the only one who was smart enough to trade 2 picks to move up in front of Philly to get him. So, for the love of God. And then the other thing could be happening here too is this. Somebody calls, you could bait and switch them. Like, hey, you have 2 quarterbacks. What are you doing with the young one? It's on the rookie contract. Want to trade him? No, but I have a washed up, often injured 10-year veteran quarterback who can't read a defense on the showroom floor. If you want to take a look at that, I got that. You interested? 10-year vet, can't read a defense, often injured. I'm willing to part with that. How about that? And then you got the people going, oh, well, if they're going to trade Shedeur, then they must be putting in a bid for Sorsby. More nonsense. This is all Radio Goo-Goo, by the way. It's Radio Goo-Goo. Radio Gaga. All we hear is, that's what this is. It's a talk show. Remember, you got to get people talking when you're hosting a talk show. So, the Sorsby thing then, everybody's kicking out, oh, well, they must want it. So, SB Nation did a poll, and as much as the fan base doesn't want to see Deshaun Watson quarterback this team ever again, almost the same amount of people are like passing on Brendan Sorsby, because they're either no, do not put a bid, or if you do, it better be 3rd round or lower. Here, take a look. This is what they found. Only 14% of the people polled said yes, you could use a 2nd or a 1st rounder. But bid for Sorsby. But then look at the rest. 37% said no way, Jose. 3rd round or lower. But then 49%, the majority, say no way. No bid at all. That's where the fan base is on Sorsby. We're flushed into toxicity. So remember, This, Browns are getting calls about Shedeur. Yeah, I'm sure they get calls about everybody. This is Radio Goo Goo. That's a great song. That might be my favorite Queen song. All we hear is, remember, it's a sports talk show. Gotta get people talking. Remember that. Remember that. He did a good job of it. Broke the internet. But this justifies the Cleveland Browns drafting of Shedeur Sanders because we have what everybody else wants. A future franchise quarterback on a rookie contract. That's the bottom line. That's where we're at. Now, what would have been the big story of the day had that not happened was training camp. We now know when training camp is happening, and it'll be July 3rd when the rookies report. Remember, we had it right in there. We had July 24th. Our sources were telling us, and so just off by a day. Veterans will be there on the 28th, but this is the day that I have circled. August 20th, joint practice with the Bills. That is going to tell us everything where we're at on these quarterbacks. So, because that's the real preseason games now. The real preseason games are the joint practices. You can expect, I think July 31st is going to be the first open practice for the fans. There's going to be 9 of them. But expect the 31st. If you're trying to make some plans, you might want to keep that day open. But August 20th is the big day. These joint practices, this joint practice with the Bills, this is really when you get down to brass tacks. And this is really where you find out where your quarterback is. Because, as much as you could practice against your own team and all that, but until you get out there with another team in these joint practices and they play for real. Preseason games, that's all for the third and fourth stringers trying to land a roster spot. Rarely you have starters play. If they do play, they'll play a series or whatever. Preseason games are not for finding out how good your quarterback is because the defenses are vanilla, and but it's those joint practices. I've been saying it all along. So August 20th, that's where that's the one I have circled. That is the one training camp date that we have to keep in mind, put it on the calendar, that joint practice with the Bills. Now, Shedeur Sanders, I would say Dylan Gabriel probably makes this list. Shedeur Sanders will never be on this list, but Dylan Gabriel will eventually be on this list, but the biggest draft busts. Now, what was different about this, Bleacher Report did biggest draft. They did the 100 biggest draft busts in the MLB, National Football League, and the NBA. They did all 3 of the big ones. And, of course, the Browns have some busts on there. Now, there are some on there that you expect, but then there are others I thought that were missing. Like Dylan Gabriel will eventually be there. We'll talk about a couple others in a minute. But, of course, we tied for the most. They're calling us a bust factory. But Cincinnati's also on there, the Lions, the Vegas Raiders, and the Portland Trailblazers, all with 4. So those 5 teams tied for the most busts to make the list. And it starts for us with, at number 45, Courtney Brown. Only played in 47 games over 5 seasons. Drafted number 1 overall in the 2000 draft. Man, 26 years ago now? Courtney Brown? Yeesh. Time just flies, man. Holy mackerel. But, yeah, he was an edge, and he just edged himself out of the league is all he did, and he was a bust. Then, of course, there's Trent Richardson, who we fleeced Indianapolis after in year 2. We didn't even wait that long, so we were smart. Drafted number 3 overall in 2012. He did rush for 1,000 yards in his rookie season. Remember, he was big time coming out of Alabama. Led the SEC in rushing and rushing touchdowns and all that, and then just never got off the ground. Some people voted him as high as 8th for their list. So, some of these guys, they gave you the high vote and the low vote. The high vote for this, like one person said he should be in the top 10. So that's how bad Trent Richardson was. At number 26, no surprise, Johnny Manziel. Made only 6 starts for the Browns after being selected number 22 in the 2014 draft. Remember, the number 22 pick, all 3 of those, we had a run of 22 picks, and they were all pretty big failures. Brady Quinn was in there. Brandon Weeden also in there. But I don't really like Weeden, man. Statistically, it was rough. He's right up there with Watson and Deshaun Kaiser. But Brady Quinn, I don't know. He wasn't, I don't think he was horrible, but no Deshaun Kaiser, I can tell you that. But the highest Brown on this list, and I completely disagree because he was up against it, Tim Couch. Drafted number 1 overall, 1999, expansion team, complete mess. Started 59 games in 5 seasons, but come on, man. He was sacked 56 times. That team was a complete mess when he was around. But Donovan McNabb could have been drafted. And Donovan McNabb probably wouldn't have been what he was if he came and played with that offensive line. And that team was a complete disaster. Guys that did not make this list that I thought could have made this list. How about Mike Junkin? Mike Junkin, not on this list. Justin Gilbert. But I think the one guy that should absolutely be on all the Browns draft bust lists now, Cade York. Come on. Remember? We took him. And, man, he was supposed to solve all of our kicking problems for the next 20 years. And all he did was cause more. And so that was a waste of a pick. And we finally gave up on him, and then he bounced around a little bit, was with Cincinnati and that, but he should be on it. But so, who was on the list? Tom Cousineau, St. Ed's, Ohio State. But he was drafted by the Bills, even though he had a good run with the Browns. That's why I don't understand how he's on this list. But the Bills, held his rights, and so they traded with the Browns 3 picks, including a first rounder in 1983. They used that pick to get Jim Kelly. So it kind of worked out for the Bills. But Cousineau, he was from here. He's a Cleveland guy. People like that. And so Cousineau made the list. I don't know. I don't know if that's that fair. I think Cade York should be on the list before Cousineau for sure. So there you go. We tied for the most, but one's very questionable. I don't know. Tim Couch, I just don't feel like Tim Couch was a draft bust. I just don't think that he was wrong place at the wrong time, man. But I'll never forget the Hail Mary he threw against New Orleans. That was a heck of a pass. So there you go. Now, what's never going to be a bust, of course, are the viewer comments. And we'll start with Sharon-GN3JX, who says, I'm glad both Sanders and Watson are showing up and working to be QB1. At this point, we don't know who that will be, but we know we should have a great backup. Yes, we should have a great backup. I'm a little more concerned about the starter, Sharon. But I get what you're saying, Sharon. I completely agree. This is a healthy competition, and we talked about it. The iron making iron, all of that. The pushing each other. Watson will have his little get-together in South Florida. Shedeur may or may not be there too, because they're really emphasizing this team. This team is galvanized. That's the good thing, and people keep calling it a competition, and I refuse to call it a battle. To me, that sounds too forceful, but it's a healthy competition that's happening right now. And so that's why I like all this talk, the trade call. Oh, we're going to trade Shedeur now. Like, oh my gosh, stop. Remember, when a talk show host says something, he's trying to get you to talk about it. Wants you to call in and talk about it. Wants you to talk about it with your friends and mention their show. Wants you to get on their social media pages and talk about it. Remember that. That's what that was. But it did justify why we took Shedeur. in the first place. But this is a healthy competition, and they're someone's going to come out on top. And then you're right, we're going to have a probably our best backup quarterback situation in a long time, because we'll have a quarterback that fits the offense, and and just went through the rigors of this competition, and should still be hungry and just waiting to take their chance. But I just think that if they're that close, you still go with the young quarterback and vet it. You got to vet that situation. Steve Jackson, 3041, says, Shedeur, this is what we teased at the top. Shedeur shouldn't run when he's the most accurate quarterback ever in college football. He's not Michael Vick. He's Kurt Warner with legs. He can use his golden arm to get the ball to his weapons. A true pocket quarterback is not supposed to run. When quarterbacks run all the time, that means they couldn't figure out the defense. A running quarterback doesn't last long in the NFL. And so, Steve, he's referring to, remember I put up the scramble numbers when Joe Thomas said Deshaun Watson is a better scrambler than Shedeur Sanders. And when I pulled up the numbers, Shedeur Sanders actually 2 yards better than the league average in his scrambles last year. And when he scrambles for a reason. Well, one, he was running for his life a lot because the offensive line was historically bad. But when he pulls it and runs, he gets positive yards. There weren't really any design runs for him last year, which I expect to see. But I said I think we could use him very much like the Eagles used Jalen Hurts. You don't have to run him as much as the Eagles run Jalen Hurts, but Shedeur, you could be a pocket quarterback that runs. Shedeur is not a running quarterback. Lamar Jackson is a running quarterback. Drops back, something's not there. He gets on the edge and he's gone because he's so fast. That's where I think Taylor Green will end up in a couple of years. It's going to be a while for Taylor Green. But Taylor Green will be a running quarterback. Josh Allen, for me, I feel like he's a pocket passer who runs, but they have a lot of design runs for him. He's so big, especially down there around the goal line. So it's just a different age of the NFL right now where, think about guys like even Patrick Mahomes when he got to the league. Like, he's a pocket quarterback that runs when he has to. He gets outside the pocket, he sees something there, he takes it. And then he makes sure he gets out of bounds or he slides. But that's the most important part. You're not trying to truck people. You're not, when it's there, take it. And then once it's not, get down. Do not get yourself hurt. And so that's why I see Shedeur. Shedur's got enough legs in him to do some damage with those legs. And so I think it's going to be a big part. These RPOs, these boots and things, like, they're going to boot him out on the edge. And if there's something there for him to take it. Take what the defense is giving you. Yusuf 29-W8C says, Monken had Lamar Jackson. They drafted a quarterback who can run a 4.3 like Lamar. Shedeur can run, but is not a 4.3 guy. They will trade Shedeur and develop that rookie. Okay, two things. One, Taylor Green is at least a couple of years away from being an NFL starting quarterback. Two, they're not trading Shedeur. We just went over all this. They're not trading Shedeur. You don't trade a promising rookie on a rookie contract. You just don't. A promising young player on a rookie contract. You don't do that. That's very bad business, especially after you traded 2 picks to get him. You traded 2 picks to move up and take him. That's bad for business, Yusuf. They are not trading Shedeur Sanders. Money Yell! Is it Money Yell? Money Yell says, follow me on this one here. The talking heads love mentioning how Sanders was a 5th-round pick. But yes, they won't part their lips to speak on the quarterback competition in Vegas between Kirk Cousins and the overall #1 pick, Mendoza. Funny how that works. Well, here's what I'd say, Money Yell, about that. It is a slightly different situation because They brought Kirk Cousins in purposely to be that bridge. They don't want to start Mendoza right away. They want him to be able to soak it in a little bit. And that's how I like to approach quarterbacks. You have that crafty veteran. Look at Mahomes. He had Alex Smith. We talked about it. Remember Montana and Young, Rodgers with Favre. To me, that is the most perfect situation you have when you have a really like a Hall of Fame veteran quarterback, and then you 2 or 3 years later, look at what they Jordan Love in Green Bay, but behind Rodgers, sat behind Rodgers for 2. You sit there for 2-3 years and just watch them and learn and pick all this stuff up and really get a handle on the offense, and you play a little bit here or there, get the speed of the game, and then. By year 3, this is where I see Taylor Green, man. It's going to be 2-3 years before they puts it all together. Because he's got to work on that throwing. And it's a passing league, man, and he can't throw. So there's a long way to go. There is a long way to go on that. Now, can you do some things with him? Yeah, you could do some things, but he is years away from being a starter quarterback in the NFL. There is so much that goes into it. And so I follow you, Money Al, but I just, comparing this situation to what's going on in Vegas is this is not the same, because the veteran that we have is far from a Hall of Famer. He's more of a washed up, often injured veteran quarterback who can't read a defense. Now, if there was a market for that, we'd have that locked down, but we don't. So this isn't a situation. Now, can he push Shedeur and help to make him a little bit better? Yeah. But like I said, every time, he's mentoring Shedeur, I was like, oh, do we really want that? This isn't like Favre or Breeze or Rodgers or any of these guys, Doug Williams, like Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, Hall of Fame type quarterback. This isn't that. I don't know if I want him poisoning my young quarterback's mind. But that's a completely different situation. That's why I wanted Kirk Cousins here last year, because then you draft a quarterback and you have your rookie and he plays behind a guy like Kirk Cousins, smart guy and all that. He's like an extra coach. So that's what I like about those situations, and that's what they're doing in Vegas, Money L. Joseph Kazmarek, talking about Myles Garrett, says Myles is horrible at the run, and he may make the Rams' defense even worse there. I don't know if he'll make it worse, but I wonder if we see him hustling on run plays, I'm going to lose my mind. Because that's one thing he never did here. Joseph Kazmarek. That's like a name from the old neighborhood, Kazmarek. It's like we had a lot of Witzes and skis and things like that. But I hear you. But Billy Bana doubles down and says players in this era are saving themselves on plays. They are not engaged. Understand the concept, but players that move down the line and crush a running back or quarterback when they cut back and don't expect the guy the size of Myles Garrett to be there. It was back in the day great to watch those highlight hits. Yeah, you know how those guys come flying down the line. Almost like a crack block, when you're a wide receiver, when they used to allow crack blocks. You do the crackbacks and on the edge, whether it's the outside linebacker or the edge guy, wide receiver comes down and takes out that edge guy, so the running back can get the corner. You just don't see, those are great. I think you're going to see a ton of those out of Jared Verse, because that's what he does. He goes sideline to sideline, man. When it's a running play, he doesn't take those running plays off like Myles would. And so you're going to see some of those. I promise you, Billy, you will see some of those crack back sticks in the backfield when the running back tries to cut back and reverse field and go the other way, or the quarterback, even on an RPO or something. Here comes Jared Verse to clean it up. And that's what they're talking about with Schlesinger and Verse, man. Like, one of them's going to dirty it up and the other one's going to clean it up. So every time they're going to be getting in that backfield, they're going to be involved in every play. And we will end today with a comment from TikTok. Desmond8, my man, Desmond8, who says, talking about head coach Todd Monken, and I completely agree. He says, Monk will lead us out of the funk. I'm like, yep, that's right. That's a great way to put it. And that's what I'm saying here, folks. We haven't even gotten a training camp. And everybody's we're talking about trading Shedeur and this and that. Remember, this is the area of the season where there is nothing to talk about. So people, it's all we hear is radio goo-goo. Man, that's all it is, radio goo-goo. So deep breaths, everything's fine. But in my mind, that justifies the reason we took Shedeur in the first place. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.